Hello. Happy
Well,
Tuesday.
it is indeed, especially with you spending your time in the tropics like you are,
Yeah.
um, with the palm trees behind you and the sailboats on your shirt. Um, I live at the beach and I don't feel that beachy.
Yeah. I live in California. It's like this every day. Don't you
Oh,
know that?
stop it! Really?
Actually, so my sisters were all out here last week, one from Tucson and one from Boston. And the one from Boston, every single day, we would walk outside at the first thing in the morning. She's like, it's such a beautiful day. It's like, it's always so beautiful. And I kept saying, after about 280 of these days, you get tired of it, though. But
Yeah. Well,
yeah, it is a beautiful day, and it is beautiful and sunny here right now. It's going to be 98 today, so maybe that's a little not so beautiful. But
that's a tad on the warm side.
yeah,
I
by
think
the
it
way,
I think it's supposed to go up to 73 here at the shore.
yeah, but your humidity is like 700%, and mine is like 12.
Okay, but I'd
So
still rather be here
yeah,
and have it be 73 it says on my phone it's 72 at the moment. So yeah, and even if the relative humidity is 50 or 60%, there's a nice cooling breeze coming
yeah,
off the ocean. It's lovely.
lovely at the shore. I'm
Yes.
not at the shore. I'm in the valley, so it's not so lovely
Yes.
anyway.
I hear
But
you.
but before we get into the topic of today's show,
Yeah.
I wanted to say I truly loved your thumbnail on your show today, the Ray and Zach show. I'm not being sarcastic. I truly loved it. It was the most generic clickbait thumbnail I've ever seen. You could have come out and said, Breyer's ice cream has discontinued Rocky Road. And your thumbnail still would have been accurate. It was amazing. And
That
I'm
was
gonna try for genericness now.
that was James.
Oh,
I gave a suggestion to James as to what the lead topic should be. And as I said to him, flames, car crashes, and danger. What could be any more compelling than that in a thumbnail? So he kind of went with it. And I think he did a great job with it.
yeah, he did great. He did great. I strive for as much clickbait as I can, but I've never tried a topic that is just so generic. I could talk about anything. I could just talk about absolutely anything next. So I
God.
really love that. That was great. So today, I don't think you even saw our thumbnail for today, huh? I didn't see it.
I
I
have
sent it
not.
to you.
No,
Yeah.
I have not had a chance. Can you pull it up just so I can see it?
Yeah. Let me see if I can pull
Yeah,
it up here. I mean, I know I can pull it up because
yeah.
I create these things. Let's see.
Yeah, I was a little busy this morning, so I apologize.
Well, and I did not get it done very quickly here this morning, or I got it done quickly, I should say, this morning, and
Yeah.
I usually try to send it to you ahead of time. So for Ray, who did not see it, here is our
Oh wow,
thumbnail today.
wow. Oh, say goodbye to Elon. Ooh, I
Yeah.
like that. Oh my goodness. Yeah,
So yeah,
you should kind of
for
have
those,
him fading out a little bit.
yeah, I did, but then the flames in the background, we always have to have flames.
Yes,
So they
yes.
they got a little weird when Elon was faded out. But
Goodness.
yeah, so we're talking about Tesla losing market share. Uh, it's funny because you sent me an article this morning
I
right
did.
as I was actually typing all this up. I was
Yes.
like, oh, perfect.
Well,
Um,
I saw the headline. I thought it would make sense. And but can I say, and I didn't dig into the article at all, and I apologize for that. But what I can say is the fact that Tesla is losing market share certainly shouldn't come as a surprise to anyone. And I would bet dollars to donuts that it's not coming as a surprise to Elon and the good folks at Tesla.
No.
They did not expect their almost monopolistic hold on the US EV market to continue unabated forever. They know what's coming.
Yeah.
They know that all the manufacturers, all the legacy manufacturers are out there and about to enter the fray if they haven't already, and that there's a number of other startups out there that are already in the fray. So this comes as no surprise to anyone, apparently, other than the headline writer at Automotive News.
So let me ask you this, Ray, since you did not dig into the article, do
Yes.
you know what in February Tesla had their highest market share? Do you know what percentage that was
Um, well, when we say market share, are we
of
talking
the EV market?
of the EV market?
Of the EV market, yeah.
If I were to guess, and this is strictly a guess, I have no idea, but if I were to guess, I would say their market share is about 72% of the EV market.
What do you mean? That's just a wild guess.
That was my guess. Is that close?
It's exactly dead on. It's
No, stop it.
72%.
No, literally, it was a guess.
That seems suspicious, Ray.
I didn't read the article. I swear to you.
But
I
Ray,
have
Ray-
I saw the article and I immediately copied it and pasted to you, but I never read the article. But it just seems to me that I mean I would that it was going to be somewhere around 7 out of every 10 EVs that
Yeah.
are sold in this country are Teslas, and the reason I could say that with as much confidence as I could is they've been around, okay, and they're the ones that created the market and have sustained the market, and
Well, I mean, there were several other EVs before Tesla. They just they're the Elvis of EV cars, right? They didn't invent it; they just popularized it.
yes,
But
yeah,
the Leaf and the Bolt and all, we had how was the EV1 was out long before the Tesla, but Tesla is the one who made it into a viable business. And
yes.
as Jared said here earlier, the difference between Tesla and everybody else is why is this
Well,
not?
one could be profit.
Yeah, is that they're making money
Yes,
and
yes,
everybody else is not.
that is correct. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, Tesla's long said, of course, they don't expect to keep their kind of market share when everyone's doing EVs. Of course, they'll go to a more relative market share, just like a Toyota or a Honda, probably.
I'm going to guess, and this is one of those things you can put into a time capsule, and we can pull it up in a few years, and we can see if I was right. But my guess, my supposition is that the good folks at Tesla believe that their market share, when all the players were involved, that Tesla's market share will probably fall somewhere between 45 and 50% of the EV market, and that everyone else will be fighting over that 55 or 50% that's remaining. I think, and I don't know this. I don't know this as a fact. I am not privy to anything that goes on at Tesla, and you know that I'm not a Tesla fanboy.
Yeah.
But I would just think that because of where they are in the industry, their ability to manipulate the EV market the way they are, that I'm guessing they don't see their share ever dipping below 45 to 50% of the market. Everybody else is just going to be trying to play catch up, and they will have tiny little incremental shares of the EV business when you look at Volkswagen, Audi, BMW, Mercedes Benz, Honda, Toyota, Subaru. You go through Stellantis, you go through all the brands, and there will be what 20, 25 brands that'll be out there with electric vehicles that will be fighting for the 50% of the market that Tesla doesn't have. So think of how small each one of those brands' market share will actually be in comparison to what Tesla has.
I agree. I mean, because Tesla's working on their master plan, which they've been working on this whole time. So the S and X, Ray, I don't know if you know, they just eliminated right-hand drive S and X. So if you're in a country with right-hand drive,
Yeah.
they've just canceled your order and refunded you.
Wow.
They're just not even making them. So the S and the X, they're supporting less and less and less. I see their top model sort of dropping away one day, especially once what we are all calling the Model 2 comes out.
Yes.
Who knows what Tesla's going to call it, but the sub 30,000 EV, Tesla's going to be operating in that space more and more, where I think the Model Y or the Cybertruck might be their top ends. And you'll see mainly affordable EVs out of them, and that's going to keep their market share. The Model Y is already on pace. It's already outsold everything in California, all vehicles in California.
Wow.
It's on pace to beat the Corolla or the Camry and the RAV4 in the United States. It already outsells in every vehicle in Norway. So it's
did
moving.
you see, not to change the topic very much, but to change it slightly? Did you see the article? And maybe it was sent to me by our good friend Alex, Alaska Sound Guy, that the Toyota RAV4 in 2021 and 2022 was literally the world's best-selling vehicle globally, and in 2022, that vehicle, the RAV4, accounted for over 1 million vehicles sold globally.
Yep.
1 million.
Yeah. All of us car coaches knew that was coming. We like, yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
that doesn't surprise us at all.
That's staggering.
Yeah.
Where they should be able to get to the point in the not too distant future where globally they're averaging selling 100,000 RAV4s a month.
Yeah.
Think about that.
Well, to put that into context, Ray, the Model 3 was the third best-selling vehicle.
Wow. At what, 772,000 or something?
But not EV, but third best-selling vehicle
in the world.
Period. In the world. So I mean, that's how far Tesla's reach is on what they're doing. So I mean, that's a pretty big reach, and but that's not to say that they don't have competition coming up. Maybe not the Rivians or Lucids. They're certainly not the Lucids, which we don't know if they're going to keep existing or not. But if they do go under, there's like 30 of them sitting down the street from me right now, covered in dust. So if they want to give me one of those as they go out of business, I'd be okay with that.
Oh, did you know that there's a contest where you can win a Cybertruck?
Of course. Of course, I know that. That's part of the referral program.
Yes, it is.
Yes.
And Alex said to me, Ray, maybe you could win it. And my response was, if I did win it, I would give the truck to Justice because he deserves it for waiting so long to get the truck that he ordered, I don't know, a lifetime ago.
Yeah, I will say I was more than a little bit disappointed that I was not invited to a cyber rodeo in May this month. That was because I own a Tesla, and I've had that truck on order since February 9th, 2020. So like, hey, I feel like you should have invited me.
Yes, you're entitled to something for that.
Yeah. Even if you're not going to deliver my truck, and I get that, but
ever.
Come on. Next year, probably the end of next year, I'm guessing. But they have so many orders. I'm still waiting to see the numbers on how many people are dropping out of that reservation, because it was only $100.
Yes.
So I kind of get like, for some people that's throwaway money.
Yes.
And then they've waited so long what's gonna, how many people are going to continue, how many of those 1.9 million people are going to continue with the reservation. We'll see. It's a long time to wait, and I know there's a lot of people on here, including Igor, who does not think the truck's ever going to come out.
And I know you are convinced that it is, because,
Yeah.
well, Elon drove up in one at when they announced, what was it, in Texas the other day, something?
Yeah, the
The
lithium
new plant,
refinery.
the lithium refinery.
Yeah,
I mean, he drove up in his very own Cybertruck.
he did, and there were
Yeah.
lots of things, and we're going to cover this, I think, on our May 30th show with our special guest. But there were a lot of things that happened during that event with the Cybertruck that
Yeah.
were very interesting. Just a quick tease: anytime Elon sort of got close to the truck, the door opened. So I think it was paired with his phone.
Yeah.
And then after about 12, 15 seconds, the door closed itself.
Wow.
So there's a feature that we didn't know about. When he went to open it and you look at the truck, there actually are no door handles on the truck at all. He went up and he pressed the button and opened the door.
Wow.
When he went to leave. So there are definitely some things on that truck we don't know about yet. So when the Cyber Rodeo comes, I think we'll learn a lot more about it. But there were definitely things, if you watch that thing, like the truck was doing something. There's some differences to that inside that we haven't been told about. So I'm curious. It's exciting stuff.
Well, hopefully, this is my hope for you. Hopefully, within the next year or so, you actually get to experience it on your very own Cybertruck.
Yeah, me too. Me too. Although I have questions about whether it's going to fit in my parking space.
Well, you
I have
might
been
need to,
considering.
you might need to move.
Yeah, I have a neighbor who parks, 2 spaces down from me with an F-150.
Yeah.
Barely fits, and I know the Cybertruck is just slightly larger than that.
Wow.
So I was like, So they did reiterate though that the Cybertruck has a 6.5-foot bed. So I think that's going to be a big deal for a lot of people. Just these F-150s have like the 5-foot bed.
Well, matters not to me.
Yeah,
because I would own neither.
Yeah. But you could pull your Mini up into the back.
I could, and luckily for me, I could probably get comfortable sleeping in either one of those beds. Just saying.
So with GM releasing, I know we went through all this not too long ago, all the new trucks coming out. But there's lots of other stuff coming out. So Chevy captured 7.7% of the market.
Okay.
Which I thought was pretty good for them.
Yes.
Ford has 5.2,
and that was what on now when we say of the market, is this for the first quarter of the year, or okay?
So these are Q1 numbers.
So Ford has 5 point something percent, and they
5.2.
They delivered what, like 11,000 EVs?
Let's see. Let's see if they tell me how many Ford did. I don't think they get into how many, but there were 257,507 total EV registrations in Q1. So,
okay,
not a ton. So what is 5.2% of 257,507?
Well, 10% would be 25,000.
Yeah.
So it probably isn't a little over 11,000 vehicles.
Yeah. I mean, we should just stop questioning Ray and just go with your guesses are always dead on.
So the reason I was even bringing that up is to have 5.2% of the EV market on 11,000 units. It just sounds ridiculous.
Yeah.
I mean, it's such a ridiculously small number. That
Yes, but doesn't that mean that they lost $660,000?
something like that,
Yeah,
yes, because they lose approximately $60,000 on
yeah,
every EV that they sell, um, based on what their loss for that division is. Um, so, but I guess the hope is that they can make all that up in volume. And
yeah, yeah. I
yeah,
don't know. Yeah, I'm not sure how that works, but so Rivian had 2.8%. So they're in fourth place with 2.8%
yeah.
of
How much? What was the percentage
257,000.
that Lucid had? Because we know, we
They're not
know,
even listed. They're
because we
not even
know
listed.
Lucid delivered 1,406 Lucids in the first quarter, while losing $780 million, or approximately $555,000 per Lucid sold.
But they do have almost twice that many reservations still. So hey,
Ooh,
there
that,
you
that
go.
that could bring down the loss per vehicle dramatically.
Yeah, yeah. Poor Lucid, poor Lucid. I like the car, but it's their prices are ridiculous. The cheapest
I
car
I
is
saw
85,000, but
I saw one in Bethesda when I was still living there. And it was a beautiful looking vehicle.
mhm. And inside, like unlike the Teslas, like
Yeah.
you get inside a Lucid and you feel the luxury there. Like
Yes.
you're in a luxury vehicle. It's like okay, but like if you get in the Sapphire, it's $250,000. Like yeah, you better feel the luxury at $250,000 because
Mm,
yeah, I don't. Tesla started out at the expensive and then went
yes.
down from there, but their expensive was never $250,000. Like you're competing with what Bugatti and Ferrari at that point, like or and what
I
I
don't
don't
know.
know any other luxury cars that expensive because those are performance cars. So
Yeah.
I mean, like
Well, I mean, you can be competing with a Maybach,
yeah,
I mean, there are cars that are a Bentley, Rolls Royce. There are vehicles out there that would be that range and higher, that aren't necessarily considered performance cars, and they are indeed considered luxury cars. But
Rolls Royce, I guess. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
but that's really a somewhat limited price point. Uh,
Yeah, I would think so. Talk about
uh,
the haves and have-nots.
yes,
Uh,
yes, and it is probably that those price points are probably the difference between the 1% and the 5%.
yeah,
Um, you know, the top 1%, the top 5%, the top 1% are going, yeah, that's an everyday car. And the top 5% are still looking at them and going, yeah, that's an aspirational vehicle.
yeah.
Uh,
So like I said, I have driven, or I've test driven the Lucid, not the Sapphire.
yeah.
I've test driven the Air. I really liked it. It was a very nice vehicle, but even at their I think that was 106,000 at that time. Um, it was like still not worth the money for me.
Are are
Like,
are obviously there can't be a lot because they've never built a lot and they've never delivered a lot. Um, but what are the values of those vehicles as pre-owned cars? I wonder.
uh,
Um,
I don't know that I've ever seen a pre-owned Lucid.
they've got to
But
exist.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah, I'm sure they do.
somebody who bought one thought it was lovely and said after 6 months it's lovely, but it's not me, and decided to get rid of it. It just has to be. I would be curious as to, do those type of vehicles depreciate like, um, the Mercedes S Class or the BMW 7 Series, some of those types of cars that you just know they're going to lose 35,
Yeah.
40% of their value in the first
Well,
year.
Igor is saying 80% of retail value.
Okay.
Um,
So
which
that's
I
that
haven't
holds a
seen
pretty
any. So
good.
yeah,
Yeah.
and curious if the company goes under, if that'll go up or down. If it'll become collectors, or if the fact that you don't have anyone who can fix anything anymore will
Well,
hurt it.
I don't I think at a certain point in time, that would be a desirable vehicle that will run across the lane at Barrett Jackson,
Yeah. Yeah.
and bring stupid money, because just about everything that runs across the lane at Barrett Jackson brings stupid money. Um, and that's
Yeah.
not, and I'm not saying that because they're stupid people that are buying them. They're just, people get caught up in the excitement of the moment at those type of things, and it's
Well, and if you have the money and you love the car,
yes.
go for it. Like, you can't tell me that Jay Leno got a deal on every one of his cars. He overpaid
Uh,
for some of those, I'm sure.
yeah, I'm pretty sure.
I mean, actually, I know how celebrity culture works. I know he overpaid for a lot of those, because as soon as if he bought them himself, because as soon
Yes.
as it says Jay Leno, the price doubles,
Oh,
just
I'm
because
sure. Yeah.
you're who you are. So but look, I don't think those people are stupid. Like, they're not things that I would buy, but that's just not my thing. I would overpay for other things, because
I want
those are
to
my
ask.
things.
I want to ask you an EV question that I think you could bring shed more light on it than I could. Excuse me. And the question would be, as we see Tesla losing its grip on market dominance, if you were to guess, what do you think? And when I say guess, I'm saying 3, 4, 5 years down the road. What do you think would be the vehicle that would be the second best selling beyond Tesla's? What brand do you think will end up being number 2 in the EV market space?
I mean, I have the people that I hope it is, but honestly, if I'm going to say who I think it is, it's going to be a Ford of some kind.
You
I
really
think
think that?
I do. I really do. I think Ford is a sleeping giant. I know they're losing money now, but like,
Hmm.
lest we forget that Tesla lost money for like a decade, um, too. And as someone pointed out in the comments here, Amazon proved, startups profits when you're starting up
Yeah.
aren't a thing. That said, I don't think Lucis is going to survive, but I think it's going to be a Ford, most likely. Maybe the F-150. I don't know, because trucks are still the big market, but when you're talking the world, maybe not. But I think probably a Ford SUV is my guess, is what will be the number 2. I really think they have a strategy behind them, and they're just not realized it yet, and we're sort of
Yeah.
waiting out this point. And part of the reason I say that, I'll be fully transparent of that, is Elon has toured all their plants and talking to Farley and stuff, and Elon has come out and said, put your money on Ford, bet on Ford.
Uh-huh.
They're sort of gonna make it there, and I do believe that. If I had my wish, I wish it would be either Fisker or Polestar, or I really, really wish Toyota would jump into the space. But I think Toyota's like 10 years out, not 5 years out.
Gotcha.
But I think in 10 years, Toyota has a good shot at that, just because I will not discount out that company. They've had too many comebacks.
Yeah, it is tough to bet against Toyota.
Yeah,
Um, they every manufacturer falters at some point.
yeah.
But that, Toyota just, they may stumble, but they always pick themselves back up and do even more than what anybody anticipated.
Yeah, they're great at just pivoting, going, okay, we made a mistake. Let's redo that. And they sort of did that when they tore apart the Model Y, right?
Yeah.
They had this light bulb moment. Okay, well, now they have to retool and rethink their designs and do that, but they're basing their new factories on Tesla's Giga Mexico factory, which isn't even built yet, but they've seen the
Yeah.
plans, and that whole thing, and they're sort of coming up with that style. So, like, if there's any real competition, I've said for a long time, I think it's going to end up being Toyota again.
Yeah.
Uh, so we'll see. But in 5 years, I think Ford is got to be somebody to watch. I agree with Igor here that currently
Yes.
Polestar is doing much better than Ford. Absolutely, Polestar is, and it's a great car. You know, I've Mario has driven me in his, and I really liked it. It was a nice car. Hyundai too, the Ioniq 5, Kia EV6. These are
Hmm.
these are great EVs that really can take off. So I mean, there's some good vehicles out there that I would rather see. I just think that Ford is on that verge that we could see a breakout from them.
I wouldn't be surprised if it was Hyundai Kia.
Yeah.
Yeah, they seem to be making a major commitment to EVs, and
And building nice ones too. Like I said, they're nice vehicles. I like, I've driven the Ioniq 5 that Justin has.
mhm.
I test drove the Kia EV6 2 weeks ago. Um, they're really like I really like what Hyundai Kia are doing with their EVs, and I think they're real competition for Tesla.
I believe they're quietly making moves in the EV space. And then once they can get their dealers on
Yeah,
board, because that
that's
seems to be the biggest problem
yep.
for them, is their dealers keep reacting to everything that they're doing EV wise, um, either as an opportunity to charge ungodly market adjustments, or to be so ignorant about the EV technology that their sales staff doesn't want to be bothered selling it. And so that's what I see as their drawback,
Well,
is
and
their dealer
not just
network.
it is their dealer network, and I don't think it's just sales. I think from from a general manager point of view of the dealership, look, there's nothing coming in for maintenance, so there's no long term residual anything for you. So what do if you're not making it, and the invoice versus the retail of these things is virtually nothing.
Yes,
On some of these, it's as low as $50 difference. So, like, where and you, I we understand all the back end assistance and
yes,
stuff, but when you're not making very much in the first place off of it, the dealership really is having a hard time with that. And I watched your guys' show on Friday, which thank you very, very much for that.
you're welcome. Yeah,
And it was great because that is a great point. Is that dealerships are either going to have to change or go away, or something's going to happen with these EVs that's going to be, or you're just going to always forever have paint protection film and warranties and all
well,
this stuff thrown on so the dealer can make money.
the thing that is of most importance to any brand, any dealership, and I can relate this to when BMW bought Mini and brought Mini back to the United States. Um, the thing that drives business for these dealerships, especially when they first open, is vehicles in operation. And if there are no vehicles in operation, then the service departments can't make money, and
Yeah.
you just have to rely on fresh sales to get vehicles into operation. Now, for EV brands in particular, um, everything that we are told is that they require considerably less maintenance. Um, what would be funny is if in an EV's owner manual they told you needed to bring it back every 7,500 miles for that oil change. Um, that that would be interesting as a way to to create some profit for the service department. But we know that they don't require nearly the type of maintenance, so that even vehicles in operation won't mean all that much to these EV dealers, because there's hardly any money to be made on the maintenance of them. I guess at a certain point, there could be money to be made on the replacement of the batteries, but you're 10,
But
15 years out.
and that cost is has been halved in the last 5 years alone, and it's only going to go down from there. So, like the dealership, I guess they can get into the tire market. They can become tire stores. windshield wipers, like stuff like that. But here's my question, Ray, and I've said this for a long time. We talk about how powerful the dealer lobbies are.
Yes.
If they go, like behind closed door meetings, will this lead to some planned obsolescence? Will this lead to, hey, manufacturer, you got to make something that's going to break on this so we can get some money?
I mean,
Like, I don't
I
know how that goes, because I agree. Like, how is the dealership going to? We all know that the service centers where they make their money. Like,
yes.
that is what keeps the lights on and the store going. It's not from selling those new cars. So where's the?
In most dealerships, the benchmark for a dealership is what's known as service absorption, and the benchmark is to have at least 70% service absorption.
Yeah.
What that means is that your service department, their profit from servicing vehicles will cover 70% of all the dealership's expenses, so
Yeah.
that the sales departments, both new and pre-owned, don't have to be covering the vast majority of the profit structure at the dealership. It's the service department that does. And it is not uncommon in really well-run organizations for service absorption to even exceed 100%. Okay, it doesn't happen often, but it's
Yeah.
doable. And obviously, what that means is every penny of profit from selling new and used cars is just that, profit. Well, you're never getting to 70% service absorption on EVs, because there's there's nothing to do. You can't sell enough tires. You can't sell enough windshield wiper blades. You can't sell enough 12-volt batteries for your EVs to ever
48
create the
volt
type
coming.
of service profit that
Yeah.
you normally generate through most dealerships. So that, to me, I don't understand, and I have a very simple mind. I don't understand how any of that pencils for dealers who want to be in the EV business.
So, Patrick has something that I was going to bring up too, that I said, what, can dealerships lean towards the customization, the
Yes.
vehicle wraps, because that is one thing that's really, really big with Teslas, is people like to modify them and do, change up the paint colors with vehicle wraps inside and out, and do, heads up displays and all these kind of things. So, like, to me, I wonder if that's where some dealers could get in there and get that going, as becoming essentially an
An
accessories.
accessorization shop,
Yeah.
a customization shop.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because
perhaps.
that seems like that could work, but I don't know what the, storing all that stuff and doing all that is. And, then you have the other customization shops out there who will be put out of business by the dealer. And not that the dealer cares, but,
Yes. It,
but
it shall be interesting to see what happens, because, like I said, vehicles in operation and service absorption are two very big components for most brands and most dealerships. And
yeah.
when it comes to EV or EVs, you have very little of both.
Yep. And to Michael, I too have gotten a whole bunch of accessories from Amazon and a couple other places for my Model 3. So it would be interesting if that, and as Igor says, and we've talked about so many times, he's talking about now the people who repair them
Yes.
aren't trained properly. We've talked about so many times that the salespeople aren't trained on these EVs, and it kind of is. And that's where I think Hyundai Kia sort of fall behind Tesla, in that, like, they make great vehicles, but they're relying on very uneducated people to sell their product. And I think people, especially right now, who buy Ioniq 5s, Kia EV6s, these are knowledgeable people in the product, that you're not getting someone coming off the street onto the lot, walking around and going, "Oh, what is this?"
Hmm.
That's just not happening. It's probably not on the lot, but even if it was, you're probably not having that happen. And there's no one there to sell them, and there's no one there who knows how to repair it. There's no one, that's a lot of
There's
obstacles in the way.
there's a lot of moving parts,
Yeah,
not necessarily on the vehicle, but within the
yeah,
confines of
yeah,
the dealership, in order to make all this work. And yeah, one of the biggest is going to be, as more and more have a wonderful day, Kimberly, as more and more people consider EVs, that will mean that more and more of those people don't necessarily have the knowledge of the early adopters, and that they will be reliant upon sales staff to train them and educate them. And well, if the sales staff isn't trained and educated, that is going to create a problem.
yeah. So, share a quick story with you. My sister from Boston was out here last week. We were driving around in my car, obviously,
Mhm.
um, and she had all kinds of questions about EVs. We stopped and charged at one point, and we watched Kimberly and Catherine's episode of Unplugged, so my
Uh-huh.
sister could see it. And she's a very well educated, very very smart woman. She's an RN at Mass General, been there for like 20 years. She's a smart person, and she watched that show and said, I wouldn't have even thought to ask half those questions or about those issues at all. So, I mean, there's a lot that gets brought up that if you're not in the EV world, if you're not one of the people watching here right now, like, you don't even know what you don't know. Like, you don't
Exactly.
even know the questions. Like I said, she's very very intelligent woman, and she didn't really give EVs much thought. She's like, I don't know, they're just little toys, and sort of has dismissed it. I think she's changed her mind now,
Yeah.
after driving around and asking questions. But there's a good segment of the population that doesn't know anything, just like on ICE vehicles. I mean, you've been in sales, half the customers that come in know nothing about
Yes.
the vehicles whatsoever. And EVs need to get to the point where you can walk onto the lot knowing nothing and still be okay. Yeah, and
Yeah.
still have knowledgeable salespeople to explain stuff, and not the salespeople we have now.
Yeah, yeah, it will be interesting to see what happens. You know what else is interesting?
It's lunchtime.
I'm getting hungry.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's that time of day for me. Yeah. Can we do this again? Say tomorrow.
Yeah, we can do it tomorrow. I would just want to answer Jared real fast.
Okay.
EVs last much longer than ICE vehicles just because there's no moving parts. The
Yes.
average Tesla loses 12% battery at 200,000 miles. Um,
And there
yeah.
there's where
Mm,
did this new idea that Kia Hyundai make good cars come from? You know,
yep.
the issues with Kia Hyundai are mechanical issues with their gasoline
Yep.
engine vehicles.
Yeah.
Okay. Uh, so
Like
if
catching
you're
fire, for example.
yeah, so if you're dealing with a vehicle that, I don't know, doesn't have a gasoline engine, um, the rest of the quality of the Hyundais and Kias isn't
Hmm.
bad. It's the drivetrain issues that they had with their gas powered vehicles. So
Yep.
I think that's where the concept or the idea that they could make a good EV, they can, because it requires less mechanical
Yeah.
issues than
Much
their other
less.
vehicles.
Much less.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah, so,
They were good. They were good at the electrical stuff.
yes,
Unlike every Ford I have ever owned in my life, which is just a personal story. I'm not saying that of all Fords. I'm just saying every single Ford I have owned, from my Mustang to my LTD, um, all had electrical issues. So I've always kind of questioned buying an electric Ford
I hear you.
personally.
I hear you. I don't blame you.
But let's do this again tomorrow.
Okay.
I'll come up with the most generic thumbnail I can that is also clickbait, and we'll talk about whatever we want.
I like that idea. I will see you back here tomorrow, say
All right.
around 12:45 my time,
Hmm.
9:45 your time.
That sounds great. And what
I'm
time
in.
will it be in Manila?
Um, I'll be damned if I know, but
40,
it's probably
45
the
past
day.
midnight, right? Is
Yeah, yeah,
that
it'll
right?
probably be 12:45 a.m. in
Yeah.
Manila. Yeah, something
All
like
right.
that.
Bye, everybody. Have a good day.
Thank you. See you,
Thank
everyone.
you.